What's the score, lads? Brendan is. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are very, very welcome back to Ardnacrusha Pitch and Puck Club for the singles of round 3 between Team 6 and Team 2. So, after the doubles, and I'm sorry, no, I have to stop and take this because I think that's Brian Andrews gone out after a shank. He's up against Kieran Earls here. It appears that way. He's out past the 7th. I just have to get that for the record. I'll have a look at his chip shot as well, just in case he hits a purler and the 6th they're playing. So Brian's in behind the tree there. And he has duffed it. And that's been a concession. So after the doubles, Team 6 held a 2-0 lead on Team 2. Both games actually registered went to the last hole, and both games were 1-1 up. Our singles is as follows. First game on the course is Kieran Birmingham versus Scott Fitzgerald. They're currently pitching the 9th hole. Uncertain if Scott has pitched, can't get a view of the green, but it appears Kieran is on the box. Scott has one shot there on the 11th. Our second game is between John Mulqueen and John Kavanagh. They're on the 8th hole, and there's 6 shots for John Kavanagh in that game. They're spread out on the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, the 10th, 11th and 15th. I might have actually named, the 3rd, 5th, 6th, 10, 11 and 15. Our third game on the course, Kieran Earls versus Brian Andrews. Brian has 9 shots, and Ger against Brendan here. Brendan Maloney has 2 shots in this game. Oh, right, okay. So the game currently between Ger and Brendan here is all square. Ooh, and Brendan, fantastic effort. Oh, just misses. So that game currently at all square. I'll move up the 5th and we'll try, or will I? We'll get some all-round game action here. I'll try to get some shots of Kieran and Scott before they move back down the course. Kieran was short, chipped up there to a couple of feet, and Scott is up here putting for birdie. So, George, great pitch into the 5th. 4 feet there for Ger. 5 feet across the hill. And the response. And he's left himself in a very awkward position up against that mound. Scott Fitzgerald just birdies the 8th hole to move 2 down against Kieran Birmingham. 1 shot in that game. And Scott pitches another decent ball, just slides back to the front and left hand side of the green there. In behind them we have John Mulqueen against John Kavanagh, so we'll stay in this array area and see how much coverage we can get of all games. Unfortunately, I'll be fairly scattered with taking scores for all the matches. So Kieran's ball going down 10 is just off the left hand side. Left that short. John Mulqueen has pitched a cracking ball into the 9th hole. Has the honour as John Kavanagh is on the tee box. John lobs one up there and just spins out the back. And a good putt from Ger. And Ger moves one up through 5 holes. So John Kavanagh, Jesus, sorry about that. Let's trying a new stand now today. It isn't working out. So John Kavanagh just out the back of the 9th. There's a long chip ahead of him, plenty of ground to work with. Not the most difficult chip. He's got it running up. And not a bad leave, about 3.5, 4 feet short. Actually, when I said I was looking at the camera, I was getting a hell of a lot longer as I took it off the camera. My apologies. So John Mulqueen now the birdie putt. Oh, I just missed it high. Did you move her back, John? I was going to penalise him afterwards, but I said, you know what, I'm sound like. So, inside the hole here for John. Should move slightly from his left to right. Oh, just the pacing. So we look over as Ger is short on the 6th. Brendan just on the fringe there, on the cut. So John Mulqueen now pitching 10. Good strike from John. And it's just landed short at the right of that green there. I tell you, you get away with murder there. And John has not taken advantage of an unfortunate event there. We'll turn back to Brendan. Did he hit it? He didn't, and it was inside the middle of the hole if he had it. So Ger Roach is about 2 feet there for a half as we look at Kieran Arnold's pitching the 9th hole. And it looks slightly short. Oh, got a favourable bounce. He has an uphill putt which should move from his right to left from about 5 feet. Joe Roach holds out on the 6th for par. So Brian Andrews on the tee. Struck okay. And it's just out the right hand side. So back, John Kavanagh is pulled putter. And I'm sure that's for his 4, so score as
2 down.
Gotcha. So we'll follow this game for the next while. Both Joe Roach and Brendan Maloney are short on the 7th hole. Joe Roach, I believe, holds a 1-up lead in that game. So that's Kieran's pitch just coming in. And it's just slightly long. If I recall, Kieran was actually there in the first round. Chipping John McQueen's ball. So Brian Andrews back in the tee. So all looking good for Team 6 at the moment. They're up in 3 of the games, and I'm actually uncertain what way John McQueen and John Kavanagh has gone. Very favourable bounce forward for Brian there. I'm going to just get the score of the 2 John's games ahead so we can get an overall score of things, but as mentioned, the score was 2-0 to Team 6 after the doubles. What's the score, lads? You're 2 up. So at the moment in the first game, John Kavanagh is 2 up on John McQueen. So John Kavanagh is sole representation of 1 point for Team 2 at the moment. You're up in 3, down in 1. Yeah. McQueen. It's 2 down. 6. Got it. Oh, that's one for the camera, boys. Is he a shot here? What are we going for? How many in a row? Oh, Jesus. You should have just gone for the camera, like, do you know what I mean? Just for the sake of it, like. I was saying to the lads, I played Siri here, Niall Siri, during the week.
Yeah.
I got 7 in a row from the 7th to the 13th and was 1 down for the 7 holes. So, one putt for Brian there brings the game back to 1 down. You're up in 3, or you're up in 3 and down in 1 at the moment. You're down in 3 and up in 1, yeah. But Brian's just after running back to 1 down, so it's tight. Charles 1 up on it. So the 11th hole, Brian has another shot here, 22 metre little flick. He's flicked it. Is it up? It is up, and it's going to be stuck. Not a gimme by any means, but a little sneaky break off the left there. So Kieran now is teeing up. And he's just outside. So Scott not happy about that shot, going up 13. And a good pitch from John. He loves the camera, that fella. Good strike from John. Oh, and he's hooked it left. So, get a look at both of these putts. It will be Kieran to putt first. Although a short putt, maybe about 3.5 feet. We'll have to go outside the hole there as there's a ferocious break in this one. Yeah, it just got the corner of the hole. So Brian with the shot to bring the game back to all square. And that is a hole halved. Kind of in the middle of no man's land here. We'll work our way down. Jara and Brendan are a couple of holes behind the two lads, and then there's a bit of a backlog ahead of us, so I'll move down and get some more coverage. No doubt John here will probably pitch first before we see a ball flying over our heads here on the in fact I'll go over the stream here. John's ball is just short of the 2-tiered 13th hole. As we'll stop, we'll have a quick look at John Mulqueen's pitch. John was long and left on the 12th. Another good strike from John, actually. It was a right good ball now. So we should be able to cover three games from here. Scott and Kieran just gone up for Scott. You are. Yes. So there's 2 balls short of the 14th, and Kieran Birmingham currently holds a 4-up lead on Scott Fitzgerald. As the two lads gone up there. John McQueen is at a decent pitch. A putt that he got in the first round. Or no, he left it short in the first one, so he should know the line. John Kavanagh, however, is a good bit short. I got that all for the camera for you, John. I got the whole lot. Take a bow, son. Take a bow. And all of a sudden, the hole is after getting very, very small for John McQueen. You couldn't miss it, John. You couldn't. I'd have given it to him. He had that putt in the first round, sure. You wouldn't miss that. So as we look back at the 13th, Brian Andrews looks to be on the back left. Kieran Arnold looks to be fairly pin high, just to the right hand side of the green. We'll have a look at Scott, because those lads are lining up. Scott is just short and has a nice touch. Yeah, it's a great chip. Looks right good from Scott. Kieran seems to have, yeah, that's conceded. Kieran seems to have pulled his off to the left hand side, so we'll have this putt to stay 4 up. And we'll move back to Brian here. Looks like he left it shy. So Kieran with a putt for a win, but I believe there's no shots on this hole. As mentioned, Brian was getting 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 15 and 17, so quite a number of shots. Kieran Birmingham has missed his putt on 15, which means that Scott moves back to 3 down with 5 to play. Or sorry, with 4 to play. Kieran Earls moves 2 up. Let's go down here. Oh. I'm hoping that one of the players pitching 13 here pitches a nice ball down to close to the flag, because we have a good look at John's pitch and also the 13th. So here's Kieran. I don't know where it is, and there you go. That's what I was hoping for. So a bit of a bottleneck here at the moment. I'm waiting Brian Andrews' pitch here on 13. Again, I'll stay with this camera. I heard Brian's pitch. Let's see the outcome. And just off the back left, we'll say. So unfortunately, I can't get a view on 15. John McQueen. Has pitched a decent ball, just hangs on to the back, I believe. No, just ran off, but John Kavanagh looks well short. We've coverage of 3 games here. We'll have a look at the 14th. John Kavanagh, as mentioned, well short. And he's also left the second chip short. Brian Andrews here, just off long enough. I think you were small, but further up, Brian. And we have Scott and Kieran both have pitched the 15th green. So at the moment, ensuring that Joe Roach still remains in the lead against Brendan Maloney, Team 6 are winning this game comfortably by a 5-1 margin. Scott Fitzgerald, I believe, has a birdie putt here at 15 for it. And he's missed that low. And Kieran Arrows has the putter out, I think, does he? And he's got that. There's a birdie fest here this evening, lads. They're all above the trees there. So I believe this putt is for Kieran to win the match 4-3. And just seems to lift that short. So Dormy for Kieran Birmingham against Scott Fitzgerald. 3 up with 3 to play. We'll have a look at John. A win for John McQueen at the 14th hole. He's brought that match back to 2 down. Cracking pitch, John. Great ball, John. So, John Kavanagh. Is that one of yours, that's, no? This is a TP5, TP5X, no? You have him! You have him! That's a tree. Kavanagh's 2 up. Kieran is Dormy 3 up. And last time I checked, Girochi was 2 up. But I haven't been back there in a while. Many under. Let's go, mate. Let's go. Do it for the boys. John McQueen back on 15. Did he hit it? He's walking after it. He knows it missed. Unsure of where Ger Roach and Brendan Maloney are. I'll stay tuned where we are. John will. So, yes, that's been conceded. So, John Kavanagh is 3 up with 3 to play, and John McQueen. John had a shot there on that hole. Geroch and Brendan Maloney still up the course. So, Kieran Earls well off the back of the 14th here. Just advised that he's 9 birdies in 14 holes, or in 13 holes. So hence the reason why he's 3 up on Brian Andrews, giving Brian 9 shots. Brian's last 2 shots will be at... And it's obviously got incredibly close. So a clap from the 16th would suggest that Scott Fitzgerald or Kieran Birmingham has beaten Scott by a 3-2 margin, meaning that Team 6 take a 3-0 advantage with 3 games to play. A win for Brian on the 14th hole brings the match back to 2 down for him. And he will have shots on, I believe, I'll double check the card here. Yeah, the 15th and 17th. As we can see, Joe Roach and Brendan coming down the 13th in the background. Or 12th, sorry. So pin very front of the 15. Kieran's put his ball into about 8 feet across the hill, and I'll walk over to the corner to see if I can get some coverage of Brendan Maloney and Joe Roach. Hopefully with very little profanity from Joe, although he is out the back of the 12th hole. Good ship, got the hands on the head. And has that been picked up? Yes, it has. So they're coming our way. Trying to see if I can see Kieran Birmingham and Scott Fitzgerald. Yes, there's a pair of pink shorts up there in the distance. Kieran is won that game, I'd say 4-2 or 3-2. Just had to get confirmation of that. John McQueen and John Kavanagh are moving up the 16th fairway. John Kavanagh has a 3-up lead, his Dormy 3. Brendan Maloney has the box here on the 13th, and looks very good. Yeah, great pitch there from Brendan. Seems to be a popular spot here this evening. Again, very little break. Furman straight, maybe even subtly off the right there if you are in slow and for a break. As we look back on the tee, is Joe Roach loading up, ready to strike. And this is where Joe Roach has left his ball, so the demeanour does seem to be a bit down with Joe. Does play with his emotions. He is a fantastic player once he gets going. Pace of play picks up and is very consistent, but if you can get ahead of him, at times he can get frustrated and mental side takes over. So we'll find out how we're going as Brendan Maloney's ball is only about 4 feet. May not need to put this, as Jar has a very tricky shot. What's the score, Les?
1-up.
You are. Okay. Brendan Maloney's clawed his way back into this one. If I'm not mistaken, he was 2 or 3 down early. Don't think there should be any other shots left in this one. And a door opener there for Joe Roach. John Kavanagh and John McQueen are gone off at 17, so a win for John McQueen at the 16th extends the match. And he's short. And if we look back at John Kavanagh, he's well and truly above that 17 green. He struck it firmly. We'll know by the gallery's reaction how it's finishing up. Good crowd here this evening watching the match, which is great. Fantastic competition this. Although we haven't massive amount of teams playing, 24 players in total, 6 teams, 5 matches in a league format with top 2 teams qualifying for the final. It's been very, very popular, and an awful lot of questions asked about the runnings of it again next year. My apologies for the unsteadiness on the camera. There is midgets and flies biting me from left, right and centre. So my apologies if I'm doing an awful lot of moving. Brendan Maloney just, and he's duffed it. He's duffed it. Jor heading to give me up on the... He hasn't chipped that in. So this game potentially could be moving back to all square with 4 holes to play. Jor's putt, if I'm reading it correctly, should move from his right to left a touch, nothing major. And he's missed it. So Brendan to stay 1 up. Strongest part of Brendan's game would be his putting, so you'd fancy him to knock this in from about 2 feet. And he wasn't even 2 feet. So surprisingly enough, stays 1 up. Uncertainty. I'm trying to get a look at John Kavanagh's game. I may move down to see if I can get coverage of that 18th and cover both games here. Should John have on the 18th, we'll see. Is there anybody heading for the 18th hole? No, there is not. So we'll stay here at the 15th. Brendan Maloney 1 up, last game on the course. Oh, sorry, I tell a lie. Brian Andrews is still fighting away there against Kieran Earls. They look to be moving up. 17 as well. So Brendan Maloney pitching the 15th hole with a 1 up lead. Pin very front. Looks good. And it's good. Decent ball. So Brian Andrews is short and right of the 17th hole as we await your Roach's pitch. Didn't catch it great, but it looks great. Caught it terrible. Tinned it, but it was straight and gives himself a look at birdie. We'll move across. Kieran is short. I would guess that this is a putt to stay in the match for Brian. So a putt for a win for the hole, and a half will be enough for Kieran to win the match. 2-1, and Brian does look to be aiming very far left there. Oh. So lovely little 3-footer there for a 4. Just a lip out for Jar. Brendan Maloney remains 1 up. So Kieran Earls and John Mulqueen in the doubles. defeated Scott Fitzgerald and Brian Andrews to move one up for Team 6. That was soon to be followed by Joe Roach and Kieran Birmingham's one-up win over John Kavanagh and Brendan Maloney. 2-0 win into the singles for Team 6. First game out in the course, Kieran Birmingham beat Scott Fitzgerald by either a 3-2 or 4-2 margin to move Team 6 into a 3-up lead. Fight back from Team 2 saw John Kavanagh claim their first point of the night with a 3-2 victory, or 2-1 victory over John Mulqueen. And Kieran Earls just beat Brian Andrews on the 17th, another 2-1 margin. So the 9 shots which Brian had did not come into effect, did not play any use. So currently our last match in the course, Brendan Maloney and Joe Roach. As we look at Brendan's ball just pitch into the right hand side of the 16th, where Brendan holds a 1-up lead on Joe Roach. All the best, Pa. And Joe's all the short. So with this particular format, although the game itself, it is as good as over. Team 6 leading currently 4-1. Such is the nature of the format itself that every point matters, because should there be a draw in the it does go to points difference. So what we were calculating things, each overall match win on the night is worth 1 point. There's a total of 6 points up for grabs. Depending on which team wins the game, it's worth overall 2 points for them. If the teams do draw a match, like has happened, each team gets 1 point. And if you lose the game, you don't get any points. And Joe has been extremely aggressive with that chip and chipped it back to, he's about a 4 or 5 footer there across the hill. Tricky shot. So although the fixture itself is as good as over for Team 2, they'll be trying to ensure that they can grab as many points just in case it does come to a breakdown. So Brendan legs up there for a 3, and if Joe misses this, he will be Dormy 2 down, and he has done. And that game was over. I thought it was 2, but I'd say it might have been conceded. So Brendan Maloney beat Joe Roach 3-2, and the overall score for the match is Team 6 4, Team 2 2. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We will be live once again tomorrow for Team 3 against Team 5. Thanks.